Hello one and all, and welcome to another warm evening in the game pantry. And it's even though it's been a cooler day outside, it is still no cooler in here. Welcome once again to my latest video. If you are a new viewer or a new subscriber, or you just come across this by accident while searching for something completely different, hello and thank you very much for tuning in. Please feel free to like, subscribe, comment and tick the bell if you enjoy what you're about to see. For those of you who are back once again, hello and thank you very much for your continued support. It is absolutely fantastic. Now, a bit of a different video this week. Not the usual stuff I put up, so there's no pickups. I did say last video there weren't going to be pickups this week, and I was right there, Anthony, because I didn't go out. Before we start, however, it is always this week's game of choice. We have the Mega Drive still on the floor, which means it's still running, and what we have this week is LHX Attack Chopper on the Mega Drive from Electronic Arts. As you can see, one of the complete with manual and tag, and got the Sega sticker on the side. For those of you who've not seen it, this was a revolutionary helicopter simulator from back in the day, and as you can see, it really hasn't aged all that well. But yeah, I don't think I've actually played this one either, which is hardly surprising, but there you go. So that'll be going in the background. Feel free to see what that's all about. Hopefully, like the pinball game a couple of weeks ago, it will now turn people into blind helicopter and flight simulators. Yes, so it's a bit of a different video this week, like I said, because I didn't go out the weekend. There's no pickups to show you, so that's obviously leaves me a huge void to sort of fill. So just a couple of things that have been sort of going around my head since my last video. Firstly, great to see so many people got to Doncaster last weekend for the gaming market, and seen a few videos and those. Nice to see that some of you met up with each other and sort of spoke words rather than communicated for the power of text or video. Looked really busy. I'm really glad I didn't go either, because obviously it was an absolutely belting hot day on Saturday, and I know quite a few of you sort of commented how hot it was, and to be honest with you, yeah, I didn't envy that one bit. Hopefully I'll have as much luck as some of you did this weekend when I go to the Birmingham Gaming Market, which is of course on this weekend in Digbeth at the college. Again, I'll put a little link in my description just so you know. I will be there. I obviously, being the cheapskate that I am, will not be going for early entry. I will be probably popping along around about 12 o'clock for the remainder of the event. I think it runs from 11 till 4, 11 till 12 is early entry, and then 12 till 4 for the rest of the general admission, or scumbags like myself. And hopefully I will see some of you there. I already know a couple of people are going to be there. They've told me they're going to be there, so I'm looking forward to that immensely. And yes, that'll be really interesting. Never been to a gaming market before. I did go to a gaming convention down in London many years ago. I may have told that story already. If I haven't, then I'll keep that one to myself for the time being. And that was quite interesting. I didn't buy anything because I wasn't into collecting as I am now then. So really looking forward to it, and hopefully it'll be a nice day out and finally put some sort of proper faces to names I only see on YouTube every now and again. A couple of things I wanted to talk about this week anyway. One thing which I'm going to get to a bit later, hopefully not hours later. But this other thing as well, which has been sort of getting around, was these video responses that have been sort of doing the community thing. And I noticed that Pete Fighter did, I always drop people's names into these sort of things, but he put a video out saying, we've done the games we don't like, the games we do like, or the franchises we do like. And then he put one up saying, gaming guilty pleasures, which, from my knowledge, I don't think too many people have responded to. If anybody's responded to, I don't know. I've not been sort of checking my videos as much as I usually do. So if people have responded to that, I apologise in advance. But I didn't notice too many people have done so. But I did say to Pete at the time, I said, this is a really tricky one for me, because games and franchises I don't like is dead easy to do, because I am literally the world's hardest person to please. So I find it's very easy to sort of turn around and say, yeah, that's rubbish, and I don't like that. And a lot of people said, oh, games and franchises I like, it's too difficult to do, I must have at least 20 selections. And I'm thinking, well, 10 would be the push for me, really, because I don't go in for game franchises. Yes, probably, okay, Championship Manager back in the day, but I'm not the sort of person who runs out and has to have sort of the next game in the series straight away. I like watching people and say, "Oh, got the new Mortal Kombat game," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's Mortal Kombat." You know, I'm nonplussed about that. Really, I don't sort of haven't been like that for many years. Really quite weird. So I know when people had a lot of struggle with that. It's like the new Sonic Racing game. You know, that looks great. You know, but I'm going to wait 10 years until it comes down to about £1 and I'll buy it then. And in fact, I ain't got an Xbox One anyway, which sort of like defeats the object. So yeah, really, sort of that was fairly straightforward to do. But gaming guilty pleasures, it's like, wow. I mean, that is such a tricky one to sort out. Now, when I sort of look round, I'm surrounded by guilty pleasure because this is my guilty pleasure, gaming. I don't have anything else, you know, sort of hobbies and interest wise, really, that sort of keeps me going. So to me, the obvious cop out would be this is it. This is my guilty pleasure. This is it. You know, it's quite hard to do, and I'm probably going to go for the most obvious one because I could only think of one really. One, if I was to put, you know, someone to sort of pin me down and say, "What is it?" Then go on. And if I was to say one, I hope I can get this out from down here. And it's a bit of a cop out because it's not just a game; it's actually the system itself, and therefore what it becomes. And I can see immediately what people are going to say. Oh, yeah, well, it's obvious, isn't it? Look what's behind you. But it's this. This is my gaming guilty pleasure. And it's not because there's 570 odd games behind me. But like many people who played on this for the first time, it was like, this is the greatest thing ever. This is what I have to have, and so many people went out and bought these after playing Wii Sports on it. My dad was one of these people. My dad bought one of these after playing Wii Sports on it. He played on it twice. He did the whole thing. My dad didn't do it by halves. Oh no. He went out and bought the balance board and everything for it, and the Wii Fit and all that. And I think he's playing it twice or 3 times. And it's sat in his cupboard now. He may give it to me one day. I don't know. I've got 3 of the bloody things anyway, but. This is it. This is the one console that I played on that I immediately thought I have got to have one of those. And I wanted one for ages. Eventually somebody did give me one. This is how it got with the Wii. People just gave them away. Do you want that? Yeah, have it. I don't want it. And I just love everything about it. And not a lot of people love the Wii. A lot of people give it a fairly short shrift. They sort of say, oh, it's a kid's console. It had games which involved horses and dogs and cats and, you know, dancing and singing, and there was no really serious games for it. And then we think, well, hang on a second, there were loads of serious games for it. You know, it wasn't just all about Mario. There was Resident Evil series for it. There was Dead Space Extraction, which was one of the best on the rail shooters. There was Sin and Punishment, which was a fantastic game. Muramasa the Demon Blade, that Capcom game I got, the Japanese one, I can't remember the bloody name of it now. You know, Manhunt 2, Mad World, spinning around very quickly. House of the Dead games, House of the Dead games, and House of the Overkill. You know, real sort of quality adult titles that came out for the system. It wasn't all about bolting motion controls onto pieces of rubbish. And bear in mind, there was a lot of rubbish. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to defend the fact there were a lot of rubbish games for this console, because there were. But the reinvention of GoldenEye, you know, putting the GoldenEye on the Wii with the motion control, the stupid bits of plastic that came out for it that you used, like the zapper and the guns and the lightsabers. I've got 3 lightsaber attachments for it. It's brilliant to play Star Wars games with it. And I suppose if you're going to pin me down, this is my guilty pleasure. It's not everybody's idea of fun. I'm going to put it down, wave it around now. It's not everybody's idea of a good time out. It doesn't do anything particularly other than play games. But that's never really been sort of the purpose of Nintendo beyond that. Up until that point, they were just strictly going out and doing games consoles. When the N64 came out, it was up against a PlayStation 1 which you could play CDs on. You know, when the GameCube came out, all it would do was play games on it against the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox, which you could also play DVDs on and go on the internet. So that's it, and I couldn't really think of anything else. So in a way, it's sort of a half a video response, really. But you know, if I'm going to chuck my hat into the ring, then that is it. That is it. The Wii is my guilty gaming pleasure. I love all the stupid stuff like the plastic guitars for other systems and things like that. And I do love, you know, really bad game. Everybody loves a bad game. I mean, let's be honest, we all love bad games. I buy a lot of bad games because that's the price range I'm in. But some of those bad games which look bad are actually pretty good and pretty good fun for a bit. You know, I don't want to. I think it was Scott Glory Hunter 82 said about the Spider-Man game that came out recently on PlayStation 4, and what he said about that game, I've got to be honest with you, I sort of agreed with. I didn't think it looked particularly impressive. It didn't sort of like make me go, "Whoa, this is a," you know, I've got to go and buy this. Look at the draw-dropping visuals. I thought it doesn't look all that different from, you know, the GameCube, Xbox games that came out for the film version, Spider-Man 2 in particular. So you can't always judge a book by its cover. I don't judge the Wii by its cover at all. I know there's a lot of rubbish for it, but I love that system more than any other system I have. Certainly more than the Saturn, anyway. So that's my response there. I don't think it's really a proper response. I think it's all a bit of a cop-out, but really I've thought about it for 2 weeks, and that's the best I can come up with. Let's be honest with you. Right, so the other thing I wanted to talk about this week, and this is a bit of fun actually, and I'd like people to sort of think about this as well. I think it might be a bit of a fun thing to do, you know. Yes, it's a sort of spinny bow tie of sort of videos, and it's about the amount of time one has to play games. And I've had conversations about this across YouTube comments and what people have said in videos and people have responded to, and I just don't have the time to play all these games. And a couple of people have sort of said, yeah, I've got too many games now, and we joke about, yeah, I might play it in 20 years time when I get 5 minutes to do something, and we all joke about that. But it got me really thinking quite hard, just how much time do I actually need to play all these games? Now, I should also warn you, this does probably involve some maths, so if you don't like maths, then really it isn't going to be for you. But it's not complicated maths, because I've managed to work it out, even if I had to use a calculator, and possibly some of my fingers. And I had to take my socks off at one point to count my toes as well. But the amount of games I've got against the amount of time it's going to take me to play them, and this is, bear in mind, to play each game just once. Not play it through, play it once. So, like a lot of collectors, I categorise, or probably go a bit further than some people do, and put way too much effort into it. I keep a spreadsheet of all my games, so when I'm out and about with my phone I can always check what games I've got. Still doesn't work. I still buy doubles every now and again. By all means, go back and see some of the videos where I bought doubles and look incredibly stupid doing so. So there's that on my phone. There's also, I do keep a pictorial record. Now I say pictorial record doesn't mean I photograph every single game and keep it in the binder. No, it's just I keep, you know, after a certain period of time I just take photographs of the stuff on the wall, so I've got a pictorial history of it anyway. Same with the consoles. And I also use the Retro Collect database, which is a bit of a strange one, because it says that I don't have as many games as I have, but I know I've got more than it tells me, even though I've been able to sort of pick those games off the website. I know it's not been updated for years, because people used to use it like as a rarity guide, and a lot of the modern stuff hasn't got any sort of classification other than a question mark. So I know it's great as a tool for a database, but beyond that, really, it doesn't really hold much value, you know, sort of worth for working how much your collection is worth. I used to think it used to be, but it's not been updated for years. So I went on that and had a look, and bear in mind, this is all based around console games. And according to Retro Collect, I've got around about, give or take 5 either side, 1,700 games. That's a hell of a lot. Now that would be all the consoles. But then, looking at it again, it's not all the consoles, because they don't list the PlayStation 3, they don't list the Xbox 360, and they don't list the Wii U. So I'm thinking, well, hang on a second, there's another 260, roughly, I would say. 150 Xbox 360, 100 PlayStation 3, 12 Wii U, I think it's, I say 260, give or take again a couple. So that takes me up to 1960. That's a lot. And then, hang on a second, that doesn't include all my computer games. Now these are console games, completely different thing. Computer games, I'm talking about the Commodore 64 stuff, Spectrum stuff, the Amiga stuff, the BBC Micro stuff. Yes, I have 2 BBC Micros, and the Acorn Electron stuff, which I haven't shown off yet. I've got many of those, but they're. But the Commodore 64 and the Spectrum and the Amiga have quite sizable collections, and I'm thinking there's probably something in the region of about 400 to 600 in there as well. So all of a sudden, I'm thinking there's a lot of games here. So I've worked off the basis that roughly, and again it's probably a stick the old finger in the air thing, about 2,500 games. Now divide those 2,500 games by the number of days in the year, say 365, forget leap years, whatever, you say 365 is a round figure, that 2,500 divided by 365, and I know because I worked out on the calculator earlier, gives me 6.849, which would equate to 6.85 years to play one game each day. And that's a lot of years. And I think 10 years ago, that'd have been like, oh, okay, that's great. Now, I'm thinking, that's a lot of time to take out of it. That's just playing one game. That doesn't mean that I can play all the games. I can play one game. Yeah, I could play 2 games and then cut that in half to 3.5 years, near enough. That's still a long time. And of course, you may want to go back and play it. You might want to go back and play another game or whatever. So that's an awful lot of time. And then I'm thinking, well, if I did that by weekends only, okay, I play games at weekends, and that would like extend it by 3 times. That's like 20 odd years, take me to retirement. So when people say to me, oh, that game, you know, I put 100 hours into that, and, you know, I put nearly 1,000 hours into that, I'm thinking, where is the time? Where did you get the time to put in, you know, 1,000 hours? I'm now more attuned to the fact that the best thing about all this plastic surrounding me is it would make a very, very sturdy coffin to be built and buried in, or set fire to, and then pollute the atmosphere. Maybe not, I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about. There's that's a lot of games and a lot of time, and I simply don't have either. Well, I have a lot of games, but not a lot of time. So have a think about it, and just thought it might be a bit of fun. I know people sort of say, I've got more games than I'm going to play my entire life. Well, work it out. How many games have you got? I mean, I know people have got massive collections. Some people have got, 5,000, 7,000, whatever. You're never going to play all those. And there's some of these here which I probably will never ever get round to playing. Some of them I know I've loaded up to see if they work, but that's about as far as I've gone with some of these things. It's absolutely mind-blowing. So, yeah, a bit of fun that, but it makes you think, what am I going to do with the next 7 years? Where do I start? Gives you something to think about. Anyway, so yeah, enough rambling and bizarre connotations aside, that is all I have time for this week. I hope I've given you some food for thought. I'd love to see if you guys can sort of sit down and work out with your own game collection and how many games you've got and roughly how many years it takes you to just play each game once. Not play it through, just load it up and play one game a day. See how long it's going to take you to do it. It's absolutely mind-blowing. This has covered everything I've got. From the from the Commodore 64 to the Atari 2600 to the NES to the PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 4. I didn't include the PlayStation 4 and the Switch, but I've only got about 10 games of those two combined, so it's another little thing in there. So it might be close to 2,600. I may have just added another 6 months to my 6.5 years, 6.8 years. I don't know. It could be more than 7 years now. I haven't really thought about that. I might not ever lie down now. Anyway, yes, so that's all for this week. I do hope if you're going to Birmingham Game Market, I'll bump into you there. Hopefully next week I'll be able to show you what I've picked up from that. That's on the Saturday, so there'll be a video along a couple of days after that. So thank you very much indeed for watching. Take care and start on those games, because you may have only got 7 years left like I have to start playing through them all. Interesting. And that's not without buying any more. If I buy any more, I'm completely stuffed. Take care. Bye for now.